Hi, it's Hazel. Welcome to my channel, Hazel and Aka Design. I am so glad to have you here, whether you are a first timer or whether you are a repeat visitor. I very much appreciate you. I think some of you were a bit interested and invested in seeing how my binder journals are turning out. So I thought it would be good to turn on the camera and show you what I intend to do. You may remember that I showed you two different Weight Watchers cookbook binders. I had, because they were glossy, I had sanded them, I gessoed them, and it was a multi-step process. Now, Angela from the Traveling Crafter suggested in the comments to try that said that she uses something called etching powder. Now, I haven't been anywhere to see if that's available in Canada. Like, hey, we've got Hawkins cheesies and we have ketchup potato chips, but do we have etching powder? I don't know yet. I will look into that though, because, obviously saving time and effort in the craft room is a good thing. So, you saw me do a paper cover on the other one. I haven't done anything more with that. This was the one that I had painted red though. And this was also the one that had this writing inside. Now I don't want this stuff here, so I had a dirty sponge brush. I just cleaned off my brush on here. Tried to leave the spine as clean as possible because I don't want the fiddliness of having to get in there with whatever comes next. Oh, I should let you know that my channel mascot is here overseeing the whole operation. I'm doing videos, ahead of time, scheduling them and so on. I don't know whether, who knows? You may or may not have seen one where I basically introduce him. I talk about his weight in grams. Well, I've since converted that. 1,198 grams is 2.6 something pounds. So he's substantial. And I've basically asked for suggestions on what to name him because, everyone deserves a name. Anyway, what I had done, because I had a thrifted piece of felt. So basically, I covered, I didn't realize there was a little bulge there. I had glued this on, in part to cover the finish, but also to give it a little cushiness. So this morning I basically prepped a piece of fabric. Now I suppose I could have ironed it. It had been ironed, but I think this will be fine when I stretch it. Now, again, the piece, it was a remnant, but still, it was big enough. I didn't have to skimp. Like this is kind of cutting her a bit close, especially if something goes wrong. I have a salvage edge on, I don't know what you can see or not. I have a salvage edge on this side. And again, because I was tearing the fabric, how sometimes it can go crooked. So I left a bit more there. But I could have stood to leave a bit more length because, of course, it has to curve around the spine. Now, with all those disclaimers having been expressed, this just came to me a while ago as I was gathering my supplies. I think, and this is probably certainly not the cheapest way to do this, I intend to use matte medium as my adhesive. Number one, it's got good viscosity and a good consistency. It will flow, because really applying glue, and I guess I should turn this over, applying glue to felt, you know, nothing is going to slip very easily on felt. I intend to use this nylon brush. I'm starting on the back cover because, you know, if something goes wrong, better it be the back than the front. Yeah, this is a little bit of an issue here. Anyway, I will, and because, I guess another challenge here, there's a blessing and a curse with this fabric. Because it's so busy, you know, any imperfections in my gluing will probably be okay, but I also want the lines of text to go straight. I don't want that to be an issue. So by starting on this side, okay, Mr. Moose, you might have to go to this side because your antlers are in there. Yeah, antlers are in the way. Okay, so I'm going to, top and bottom, I'm okay. I'm going to use less fabric on this side, so I make sure I have enough on that side. I'm going to do back first, then spine, then front. So I can't really ask you to hold your breath. However, maybe you could cross your fingers. And I've got about, this is an 8-ounce bottle. I am hoping that that is going to be enough. I also thought that this was a good idea simply because it will serve, if I put a top coat as well, and I do have more matte medium. It may not be this brand, but I'm sure they're fine. If I put a top coat on, it will serve to seal the fabric somewhat as well. So let's just put some of this on here. And then I will, oh dear, this might be a mistake. Look how it's soaking in. Hell. If that is so absorbent, I wonder, does that mean somewhere I have a glue mixture, but I also have this, don't you love, this is like really crafting on the fly. This is so damn thick. I didn't want ridges of any kind, which is entirely possible when you're squeezing stuff out of a bottle like this. I should also confess at this point, or maybe it's not the first time I'm saying it, that one of the very first journals I made, I didn't even glue the fabric down. That's how much I knew about anything. So, you know, really, the cover, the fabric, boy, this doesn't spread very well, is not going anywhere. And I am wrapping it around the edge. So I don't know. This is kind of catching me flat-footed here. Maybe I'll just do a little bead around the edge, because really, if anything is going to shift, that's where it would be. I don't think I've got I don't have the upper body strength to have squeezed out fabric. So this isn't much better, to be honest. Then I'd have to move heaven and earth to get to my diluted white glue jar. Okay, enough of this. I'm going to lay this down and see what. Let the chips fall where they may. Okay, so I just want basically enough to be able to wrap around the edge so that looks like there's enough there. Like, I mean, this is, it seems like there's a bit of grab. Now let me stand up and see if the print seems to be going straight. Okay, so come on. Family looks okay. Joy looks okay. That may be. Is it a good sign when the person doing the demo is surprised that it worked? Yowza. Okay, so let's peel this back and see what we have here. If I put, I should also say that when you're gluing things down, it's always a good idea to make sure that you don't have any stray threads on the back side, because sure as heck, just as you've got it nice and smooth, that's when you'll spot one of those guys. And of course, not be able to do anything about it. Okay, I guess this isn't really doing that much. Okay, oh, that's better. So I'm just sticking this punch under here to sort of maybe give me a more stable thing. Where's my brush? To account for, those big rings. I guess the nice part about this, whoa, that's a lot there, is that, okay, what am I trying to say? Oh, it's not drying that quickly. And, these, obviously, I have no idea what I paid for that, because I don't think there's a price tag on it. But, the minute you start buying brand name art supplies, you do pay more. There's no doubt about that. I think I'd better put more in this little gutter part, because that's where the issue was in the first place. But my goodness, if it does a superior job and saves time and failed attempts and so on, then that has to be worth something too. I've got a bit of a bald spot here. And again, if every single square inch, my moose. I have to find a better spot for him. Okay, you better get out of my way here. Okay, let's see what happened. Oh, maybe I should add a little more on this side too. Although I could get it from when I do the front part. So again, I'm just gently Trying not to pull and get the text askew. Got a little ripple here. Ladies, people, massage your journal. It almost looks, okay, can you, I shouldn't be pointing out flaws. It almost looks like some of the red is bleeding through there. Let's hope that disappears as it dries. Wouldn't that be something if it lifted the color? It shouldn't, I don't think. Maybe I'll put this here now, so I have a flatter surface. And for better or worse, we're carrying on. I should have turned the thermostat down. I'm working up a sweat doing this. Don't need the furnace running. I mean, I need the furnace running, but not in the heat of the moment. Okay, I'm just sort of, I hope you can see it, I'm just sort of rounding this curve here. Because again, that's where, you know, the movement, the wear and tear as it opens will be occurring. Some of you seem to have really enjoyed the video I did on the, or maybe, well, because it practically turned into a blooper reel, that's why. The video I did on making a journal cover from an old Christmas card box. One unnamed person thought that it was so funny that she should start wearing Depends when she watches. Anyway, I was also surprised that some people haven't heard of that that sort of tape that I used on the spine. That is the tape that the construction trade uses when they do vapor barriers in basements and around windows and so on, because it you know, it keeps it keeps air out. It sort of makes it more, it keeps the cold out and the heat in, and vice versa, you know, depending on where you live. Boy, I'm using a lot of this and I still don't have total coverage here. Now, of course, I had this felt because, you know, it was a thrifted purchase. Bought it, you know, probably a couple, 3 years ago. Oh, you know what would have been good, but I didn't do it on the other parts, is running a bit of this around the edge, around the lip of this cover. So I'll just try to do a bit of that. Although, again, if it holds everywhere but there, I'll still be fine. Oh, I was starting to say that another thing that would have worked, of course, is batting. Now, I'm sure that felt is cheaper than batting, so... Okay, I don't know. Are your fingers still crossed? Now, I'm sure that this is going to require some drying time. So you can see that I can still, the fabric is still, I think at the risk of bending, you know, working the spine, maybe I can use that over there now. I do think I have to go the one step further and turn this in. Now, unfortunately, I didn't, maybe I'll use Fabri-Tac on the inside. I did not come up with a plan for how I'm going to handle around the spine with this fabric. So what I'll probably do, so it doesn't interfere with me doing the, let's think, just gonna cut this down the, see if I can, I'll show you what paper I picked. I was going to use something like this, and that of course will cover my turned under edges. Oh, I see I'm gonna have to do a bit of, oh, look how that comes off so nicely. So that's the paint not sticking to the plasticky. Okay, so I'm gonna be able to clean that off, so that's good. And my goal, let's get this brush out of the way. My goal would be to just go as far as that white line. So that red would show. I mean, I'll have to clean that up, obviously. Where I've, you know, I don't need to do two of these. So like so. But what is going to happen here? So let's pretend that was underneath there. Okay, I think that in order for me to move on and not keep this spine bent forever, I'm just going to make a couple of cuts here so that I have a little bit of something that I can work with, and I'll trim as I get closer. But you know what? I'd better do this right now. I'll start on the back cover. So if I cut this very, very, very neatly, hold the phone. I have to get this off here first. Would a wet wipe work better? That seems to be doing the trick to get those. To get that off there, okay. Don't know that I have anything on this side to remove, but I might as well give it the once over. Top and bottom as well. Okay. So, let me maybe I should start gluing. Okay, that's going to be the plan. I'm going to start gluing elsewhere around this back cover. Oh, you know what? I should also miter this a bit just to remove some of the bulk. I don't know if you can see it, but I'm not getting too close because there is some thickness there and I want there to be able to be enough. So I've kind of taken that shape out, top and bottom. Okay, So I will begin on the short end. I'm not going to worry too much about any blobs of glue. I guess I could use my little spatula thing to spread it out. Maybe I'll run a tiny bead along the edge also. Spatula within reach. See, with this, you've got to be pretty darn quick. So I'm going to pull try to have the same amount. Not that fabric is necessarily always printed plumb and true either, but try to have the same amount of fabric showing. Can I take a peek? Yeah, that glue is definitely, I can see some disguising that's going to have to be done over there. Anyway, okay, I've got this thing down, for better or worse. Because this side is closer to me, I'll do this now. I could have left a little more there. Geez, and this brush. Let me find my little jar of water so I can wet it and not ruin a brush. I will, by the way, in case you don't already know, should never leave brushes standing in water. I know back in the day when toll painting was a thing, you could buy they were called brush basins, I think, and they had little grooves at the bottom so that if you did rest a brush in there, at least you weren't wrecking the bristles. Now that's not perfectly clean, but at least it's not going to dry solid. But the other reason for not soaking brushes is that it weakens the glue that holds is this called a ferrule? That holds the bristles in place, so you could inadvertently, I need these, inadvertently be wrecking loosening the bristles in your brush. Let me get my coaster out of the way. Okay, I am trying to cut this straight with and now I'll take a little chunk out, because again, the paper is going to disguise it. So I'm going to pay attention. Well, I'll put this glue down, and I'm also going to be a little careful here at the corner. Give it a wee bit more glue so that I have good adhesion and can basically shape that little teeny tiny fabric surplus there, so that so that I can cover that corner. I'm just kind of working it in there a bit. Oh, I should put some glue here as well to catch this part. Oh, wrong place. Move this over. So I hope you can see I'm trying to get that in there. Oh, great, the color is lifting and going on to my... So this takes, you know, a little bit of finessing. And of course, the clock is, if you know, the Jeopardy clock would be ticking here because the Fabri-Tac wants to dry. But it is doable. And it could also be why God invented journal corners. So, you know, hey, there's always an answer. Or maybe lace or trim of some sort. This is dried here. So you know, it's like if you've ever reupholstered anything, you know, like an ottoman or something like that, or a bar stool seat. You're trying to pull the fabric evenly so you're not distorting it, especially if there's a design. Okay, let me turn this baby around so that I can see what I'm doing. Put my little thingamajig there. Oh, I even skimped more on this corner. Ah! That's the problem when you can't really see what you're doing. Okay, I'm cutting this straight. Then I'm cutting a little wedge out. And reapplying glue at this corner. Hopefully that will tuck in there. And, you know, again, I'm trying to show and talk you through this, but you do, I hope you can understand that sometimes it's more important that I see what I'm doing than it is that you see what I'm doing. So if I've slipped out of frame, I'm sure every reasonable viewer will understand that and forgive it. Okay, I really did not do great on this corner. I'll lift it up and show you in a second once I've... Oopsie. So you can see, now mind you, if I put this corner, had a little more fabric and it's a little better. This one is not as good. So I'm going to, again, slather some glue on there. And just basically, you know, try to make it glue to itself and cover that. Yeah, I'm going to be a little choked if this, but this is where I slathered all that glue on. Okay. Can you stand to watch the other cover? Because I could easily, let me see how long we've been at this. Oh, 34 minutes. I can easily turn the camera off and suffer through this myself, you know. Okay, I'm going to be a little more careful. Now I have more surplus here, but again, that's sort of what I wanted. There is a wee bit of creaking. And that, this time, we can't blame it on my joints. I think I'm just going to put, you know, look, red there too. But with this fabric, I'm going to get away with it because, well, I have to for one thing. Okay, I'll lay this down. What I'm going to do here is be a little more careful you can't see. Pull the camera this way a bit. I'm going to be a little more generous. See, the idea is to reduce the bulk so you don't have a big lumpy bumpy corner, but still have a little bit of something there to work with. Now, again, there's more on this side than there was on some of the other sides, but that's okay. And, you know, the saving grace here is that I will have that paper cover, that paper finishing piece. Plus, of course, I will also have, you know, more than likely a pocket or something there. Probably wouldn't have hurt to refill this glue this morning. You know, the fuller the thing is, the better it flows. I also use, well, I can't look right this minute, but I'll tell you what I use to thin it. So I'm pulling, I'm tucking the corner. Oh, I didn't even spread it this time. And again, you know, a tiny little pleat at the corner, if it were visible from, you know, from the front, then that looks better than the cover point, the underneath cover, you know, shining through kind of thing. Now, I may just trim that once this is all said and done. But I do want to get on with doing this while the corner is still in play, so to speak. Oh, I forgot to trim here. While the corner, this corner is still in play, glue hasn't dried, I need to get the second side on. I will, once I'm done here, I'll show you all four corners, and you'll see that they're not identical by any stretch of the imagination, but they will probably do. Cut, 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 cut. Do a little wedge. And put some glue down. Again, I'm sort of putting more in the corner and a little bit along the edge. Now, if I wasn't covering this with paper, well, I guess it turned out better than I thought. It looked, for a while there, it looked like it was going to be too skimpy, which is never a good thing. Okay. Let's, good thing red is a Christmas color. But again, I don't want to prejudge until this is dry. Okay, I said I'd show you the corners. This one, if you can see, has a bit of a little pleat there. This one, I think, was the skimpiest one. So it's, I might have, I might continue to add some glue there. A little bit of a pleat, this one less so. But I think on the whole, I'm pretty happy with how that turned out. Now, this was the little skimpy one. Let me put another dab there. And again, my intention here is to make the journal so beautiful that no one even dreams of looking at the corners, because they'll be mesmerized and awed by everything else. Okay, now I'm not going to take the time, because, well, number one, I'm not ready. Didn't trim the paper or anything. I would say, though, that you can almost be positive that I will trim some of this surplus here, like this. Don't want to take time doing that. I think you would probably rather see, well, what is she going to do over here? In the past, where's my little screwdriver? Oh, ignore that phone. Little screwdriver. In the past, I have been able to tuck a bit underneath, but it might be better if I just trim this nicely. Stop it. Have it end kind of there. Again, I'll practice on the bottom one. Enough already. Okay, what I'm going to do here is, oh, you know what? Maybe cut it a wee bit longer and fray it slightly. Is that what I want to do? That's what I think I'm going to do. So I'm just leaving, well, I should stand for that. Just leaving about 1/4 of an inch. I can fray that slightly. Oh, I see I didn't cut, either I didn't cut it or I didn't stretch it that straight, but anyway, if this turns out not to be a good thing, maybe that will have to be, we'll see. I could either, I'll see how this works. I could either, trim this little frayed part off, especially since it's not even. I could also just glue this down to here. Or, who knows, maybe some lace or something. Now the camera's probably too close. I'm just going to lift it a smidge. So I'll leave this side a bit longer since it's the top. So we'll see. That may need to be touched again. Okay, my lovelies, I think I'm going to stop there. Let this, and I think I'm going to leave it in the closed position because that's the way it'll be 90% of its lifetime. Leave it to dry and then kind of reassess at that point what next. It's nice that it's a little bit cushy. And then I'll address the inside with these papers that I've chosen. So remember that a creative mess is better than tidy idleness. If you haven't already done so, I'd appreciate if you would subscribe, give me a thumbs up, write a comment. Maybe you have a far superior way of doing this. I'm always open to hearing suggestions because goodness knows I don't have a lock on the truth here. So, yeah, we'll see you in the next one. Bye.